People say houses grow quiet when no one lives in them. But the Whitman house never truly stopped whispering. On October 14, 2025, a roofer named Gary Miller climbed onto the abandoned Whitman estate, the house that had been empty for nearly a decade. He was clearing out the chimney when his brush struck something hard. He thought it was just a brick. But when he pulled it out, it wasn't a brick at all. It was a rusted metal lunchbox from 1985, with a photograph taped to the front. A photo dated 2 days after the Whitman twins vanished. And inside that lunchbox was the truth that shattered a 40-year mystery. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and don't forget to click the bell icon. To understand the horror inside that chimney, you have to go back to where everything began. The year was 1985. It was a colder autumn than usual in the small town of Oak Haven. Back then, people trusted their neighbors, children ran through the streets freely, and nobody imagined the monsters that could live inside an ordinary home. Julian and Adrian Whitman were identical twins. Same sandy blonde hair, same half smile, same stubborn little chin. But the town knew their differences. Julian was loud, athletic, always moving. He climbed anything he could grab, he laughed too loudly, and he collected scars like baseball cards. Adrian was softer, a thinker, a quiet kid who lived inside his drawings and model airplanes. While Julian played football, Adrian preferred the shadows of the Whitman basement where he built tiny machines that actually worked. Their parents were opposites too. Thomas Whitman, their father, was a factory foreman with a stare that could turn a room silent. He was a firm believer in discipline, structure, and perfection. Their mother, Martha, tried to soften the house, to keep peace between a father demanding too much and two boys trying their best. From the outside, they looked like the typical mid-80s American family. But homes with secrets never looked dangerous from the outside. November 18, 1985. It was a Monday. Cold but bright. The twins walked home from school at exactly 3:30 p.m. A neighbor named Mrs. Higgins waved at them from her porch. Julian waved back enthusiastically. Adrian gave a small nod, eyes fixed on the ground. That moment, the wave, the nod, the turn into the driveway, would become the final confirmed sighting of the Whitman twins. At 5:30 p.m., Martha called them down for dinner. No answer. She checked their room. Empty. The window was open, curtains blowing inward with the cold. The wire screen wasn't pushed out, it was cut from the inside. And on Julian's perfectly made bed was a short message written in thick red marker. "We're going to the woods. Don't follow us." It didn't look like their handwriting. It didn't feel like something children would write. But it was all they had. Police were notified immediately. Back then, the missing child protocol moved slower, but the Whitman twins were known, loved, and instantly missed. Within hours, the entire town formed search lines. Helicopters swept the treeline. Dogs tracked every possible trail. But the woods behind the Whitman house offered nothing. Not a single footprint. Not a single broken branch. The boys had vanished with an unnatural silence. On the third day, hope began to fade. Parents kept their kids indoors. Doors that once stayed unlocked were suddenly bolted shut. Then a witness stepped forward with a sliver of promise. A blue van seen near the woods. Police tracked it to a local drifter named Arthur Vane, a man with a past that made him the perfect villain. He owned a similar red marker. He had children's toys in his cabin. And the town demanded someone to blame. But Arthur had an airtight alibi. He was in jail the night the boys disappeared. So the case collapsed. Winter came. Then spring. Then years. And the Whitman family fell apart. Martha died in 1995 without answers. Thomas grew even colder, living alone in that big house, keeping the boys' room exactly as they'd left it. He died in early 2024, his secrets buried with him. And that leads us back to Gary Miller on the roof in 2025. He pried the rusted lunchbox open. Inside was a Polaroid photograph, fresh-looking despite 40 years. The boys were in the frame, sitting on the floor. Julian had his arm around Adrian. They were smiling, not forced smiles but real ones. In the background was the faded wallpaper of the Whitman attic. Gary flipped the photo over. The date on the back read, November 20th, 1985. 2 days after they vanished. Gary staggered. His hands were shaking as he called the police. When officers arrived, they discovered more inside the lunchbox, a hand-drawn map of the house, and a small cassette tape labeled Play. They played it. The voice was fragile, whispering, scared. It was Adrian. It's been 2 days. Julian's asleep. We didn't go to the woods. We tricked everyone. We're in the chimney crawl space. Dad was really mad about the grates, so we're hiding until he calms down. We heard the police downstairs. They were right next to us. It's funny they can't find us. We have snacks. We have the flashlight. I think Julian's leg is hurt, but he says he's okay. The room fell silent when the tape ended. Police used the map to locate a false wall behind the master fireplace, sealed during a renovation. They broke through brick and wood until dust poured out like old smoke. Inside was a narrow space filled with the relics of a desperate attempt at survival. 2 sleeping bags. Old candy wrappers. A fallen flashlight. A broken wooden airplane. And bones. Forensic analysis revealed the remains belonged to one child, Julian Whitman. He had fallen from a ledge inside the chimney shaft, breaking his leg and died slowly from internal bleeding. He had been gone within days. But the space for the second sleeping bag was empty. Adrian had escaped. Investigators now believe that after Julian died, Adrian panicked but managed to climb further up the chimney, the very chimney Gary was cleaning. He got out. He fled. And he never returned home again. The truth was confirmed when DNA from the tape envelope matched a hit from the national database. A quiet librarian in Oregon living under the name Michael Smith had sent in a voluntary ancestry test the previous year. It was Adrian. When police approached him, he didn't run. He didn't argue. He simply whispered, "I tried to go back for him. I really did. I thought they'd blame me. I didn't know how to be 12 and guilty." After 4 decades, the Whitman mystery was finally solved. One twin never left the house. The other spent his life running from the memories trapped inside it. And the lunchbox that revealed it all had been waiting in the chimney for someone brave, or unlucky, enough to find it. Because some secrets don't stay buried. Some families don't get to say goodbye. And some houses never stop whispering.